In your latest report, you talk a little bit about slowing economic growth in the next few years. How does that change your view on state revenue?
Yeah, so we did just finish all of our outlooks, and we spent a lot of time throughout all the different sectors looking at when the cycle turns. We think 2018 was an anomaly, real large surge in economic and revenue activity for states, and we tend to look at states because they're the leading indicator. They'll see the revenue shortfalls first. We think 2019 is going to be a much slower economic growth period. And with that, we think it's going to bring some budget strain for states. And the reason why we focus on states is because they tend to impact all the other sectors across public finance.
Well, as you talk about sort of impacting all of the other sectors, one of those, of course, then you drill down into the local sector. And a lot of those face a little bit more pressure. How does that outlook sort of affect sort of the local municipalities as well?
Yeah, so states, one of their great areas of flexibility is the ability to sort of downstream any challenges they have on the revenue side. And we have seen that over and over during cycles. But this recovery period, which is in a record phase, currently, and this year may be the turning point. But even with, it's been a very different recovery. It's been slow, and it's brought a lot of austerity that you don't typically see in an economic growth period. So there hasn't been a big surge in spending that we typically see on the state side, and that has affected locals. Mm-hmm. And some acute stress across different states.
I want to talk about stress within states. Some of that comes from pension liabilities. This has been a hot button issue. We talk about how liability expenditures outpace revenue. When does the rubber finally meet the road on when a state has to really deal with this issue?
So, Taylor, it's interesting. You're in media, and it has been a front page headline issue for the last 10 years. And I think the fact that it's sustained means that the rubber is hitting the road for many governments. And I think this silver tsunami that's, coming to Muni land is really, just going to accelerate some of that. Pension liabilities and retiree health liabilities larger than debt outstanding for most governments. And so I think for many, the time is now. And if not now, the choices that they're making now and the ability, what funding choices they make will, if not this year, then future year, it will continue to be, I think, a real hot button issue.